So I just pulled up to where the truck is. It's like a towing place. I guess the guy that owns the towing business bought this truck back in Tucson 5 months ago. It's kind of funny. It's in Phoenix now, and now it's going back to Tucson. So let's check the truck out real quick.
It's as nasty could be. Yeah. I don't have no idea how the woman ever drove it that nasty.
Well, I'll tell you, she's a ruffian. Turn it up a little bit.
I also do have a battery. If this one won't work, I brought one.
It'll start.
Okay.
I guarantee it'll start. It'll hit the first time. Without it.
Huh. That must mean it isn't charging. Yeah, it's not charging. Odometer says 143,000 if it works. What we're gonna do is he's gonna pull it forward so I can get the tires off, because the duals aren't gonna fit, so I'm gonna have to take one of the tires off on each side. Yeah, that'll work.
We don't hit nobody's car or do any damage.
Gonna need my impact. And I think they're 15/16. All right, well, I'll bring this rack up. Gosh.
See if you can bust them things loose before I just start jacking it up.
Look at that. It's nothing I brought. I brought every single 1 1/16 ain't right, and 1 1/4 is too big. It's a 1 1/8. Since we didn't have the socket, we went up to this towing place where all the guys are working, and you know, just on their good graces, one of them let us borrow a socket set to do this. So I very much appreciate those guys up there for letting us borrow a socket. Will these tires like fit in the back or something?
Huh?
Will these tires like fit in the back or put them somewhere?
Trying to figure out a good spot to put them, because I don't want them in that back of your truck. I mean, worst case scenario.
Will one of those doors open on that sleeper?
There you go. I think you're gonna hurt them seats any worse than what they are.
Yeah, those seats are bad.
You gotta bungee it. Hold on. Don't slam on.
Let me give that gentleman his socket back.
Oh, yeah. Here, I'll take them back up there. We're good?
Yeah, we're good with the sockets.
It's as good as it's gonna get, right?
That's all we need to do. Those ones have eyelets on them. They don't have the regular top posts, which is kind of stupid. I'll have to vice grip them.
You got vice grips?
Yeah.
That motor's clean, man.
Yeah, that motor's clean. Look at that injection pump. It's beautiful.
This whole truck's clean, dude. You got a good truck here.
Yeah, this one's pretty dang nice. All right, well, vice gripping every possible connection to the top post is the only thing we can do right now. Gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. We'll see if it starts.
So
Don't slam that hood on that.
well, should be able to
Bam!
get it down on the negative. Won't hurt nothing. Hold on, stop.
How are we looking up front?
Slow down.
More?
We're on. I think that's going to be good.
I can't go more?
You could go up a little bit more. That's good. Make sure it don't roll backwards or that, or hold on. Let me put a J on it.
Yeah, because I gotta hold the brake. I thought we got sold a bill of goods for a minute there. I thought, well, how did he get it in gear and I can't? I thought, man, this clutch is bad. And this thing's a long sucker. This trailer's 18 foot long and the front wheel's almost to the front and the rear wheel way to the end of the dovetail. Usually we can get them to where both wheels are on the flat deck, but this one's long, man. First gen hauling a first gen. All right, so I'm trying to figure out how to weasel this off by myself. I don't think the parking brake works, so I just have it in gear. I'm gonna try and undo these chains while it's in gear so it stays, and then get it. Let me open up this hood so I can reconnect the battery, because I unhooked that. Yeah, it's trying to leave me hanging. Let's see if we can, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna try and all right, we're playing a very dangerous game. It's just in gear, nothing else. Do the lights work? Cool. It's pretty dark now. I want to see how many of these lights are working. So I pulled it out and there's no dash lights. Let's see what we got for outside lights. Look at that. We got 3 cab lights. There's 5, if you can see them. There's 3 in the middle there, but 3 out of the 5 are working. Got headlights, a parking light. Nice, nice. Let's see what's going on with the trailer. All right. We got running lights on the trailer, front, rear. Running lights on the back. Wow, all these work. I'm impressed. Check it out. Other side. I dig it. All right, so, oh, even the license plate light, that's the first thing to go. Those little itty bitty license plate lights, they never work. Freaking never work. All right, we'll come out tomorrow and we'll get a better look at this because I didn't really get a good look at it today. We were just trying to get in and out. I looked at it for a second and was like, yeah, it's good, let's go. I think I'm gonna call it a day there, guys. Pretty successful day, full day. We'll get this truck put somewhere in there. I got that Cummins build in the right bay where I always work, so we might have to back out the GMC. we'll get a better look at it tomorrow, give it a good walk around, a good once over, see what we got, what we don't got, what's broken, to get it up to snuff for the roads. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Since I don't have a building to put this in, you know, obviously it makes me cringe, and I'm sure it makes you cringe, that I would put this outside after dumping thousands of dollars into this engine and transmission. I don't have a building. I gotta do what I gotta do. It is what it is. So we're gonna put this hood over it. That should protect it from any kind of rain or moisture. I did tape up the back of the turbo. Front of the turbo's got the air cleaner on it. Everything else is sealed tight. Everything is connected, so there's no open anything. All right. Before I dig into it, I think I want to clean this thing out, because it's just muddling my brain. But this thing is a weird concoction anomaly, because it says it's a 91 on the paper I got, but it's just kind of weird because 89 and 90, so if it's a 91, 2, or 3, it should be intercooled, okay, but this one's not. So this is an 89 or 90 engine, to my knowledge anyway. I don't know if there was some half year thing, but an 89 or 90 should have that motor with the earlier front end. So this is what an 89-90 should look like, the old body style, like what Dodge did pre-Cummins. It should have this old aluminum grill with the non-intercooled engine, and when they went to intercooled, they changed it to what that front end looks like. But whatever, it's not really a big deal. And the reason why he never worked on this thing or drove it is because he bought it and then he had his guys at the towing place kind of work on it, and they said there was a hole in the radiator, no water in it, and he never did anything, never did put a radiator in it or anything like that. So he just let it sit. There's the engine, and it runs good, and it does shift. It's got the big towing mirrors. Passenger door doesn't open. I don't know if it's like steel and fiberglass. If it wasn't so filthy, it's a well-made get-up, you know, the sleeper thing they put on it. I thought it was a sleeper, which I guess it could be, but they just put a back seat in it. I love the first gens, but one of my main complaints is even the extended, they never made a 4-door version of the first gens. All the first gens, if it's an extended cab, have like an extended cab with no rear opening door, and they only had jump seats. There was not enough room to put a back seat, which really makes the extended cab almost a waste of time. So the fact they did this with a back seat, it's pretty cool. They have an opening door on this side, no opening door on that side, just kind of weird. And then, but I don't know, look at that though. It's not bad. We'll clean it up, but the seats are tore up and there's no rear window. I don't know if this is the same shape as as if this was not here and this was a regular cab, you know, the same shape back window. But this flatbed though, this thing is killer, very well made. This was made by a company for sure. This was not somebody's backyard project. I haven't found a tag on it of who made it, but I can see that it was used See those mud flaps? It says Cummins Welding, Del Norte, Colorado. People who do welding for a living in welding rigs, they always use flatbeds. Built-in lights up top here. They got running lights here, running lights here. They got all the lights built in and recessed into the back. They have all this diamond plate, this section that comes out, more tail lights. They got a built-in spot for the plate, really nice. Receiver hitch with trailer light hookup. And then also, I saw up here, it's got a gooseneck, and then it's got two trailer light hookups. So that's pretty freaking cool. This thing is well made. I think if you took this flatbed off, it'd be worth at least $1,000. I would list this for $1,500. There was a flatbed on that Cummins build before I took the cab off and everything. It had a hokey flatbed. I mean hokey. It was homemade, terrible. It was just a flat square piece of steel basically, not even held onto the body real good. It was not well made, and I still sold it for $500. Look at the storage. I mean, this is really cool. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Check it out. Cummins Welding, Del Norte, Colorado. Oh, it's even got the phone number. That's crazy. Call them up, get some welding work done. But we're gonna clean this out right now because this is crazy. I have no idea what that is. ATF for Ford vehicles, 85 140 gear oil. Got some jumper cables that look too small to really do anything. The jumper cables they sell are just, they're not big enough. They're just too small. I got some old jumper cables that my dad gave me, and man, those things are beefy, man. Freaking industrial. So we're gonna take a little intermission from cleaning real quick to pick up some rims for this build, because this truck did not have a rear axle when I bought it. I had to buy an axle, so I didn't have two rear rims anyway. And then these two front rims are factory second gen rims, and they're ugly for what we're gonna be doing. I mean, imagine like a 40s, 50s, something on this, and then those 90s chrome stainless rims. Not gonna look very good. So I found some factory steel wheels that came off of first gen. They're just steelies, you know, they'll have the right beat up look for what we're doing. And two of them have tires on it. So I'm gonna go pick those up right now. First try every time. This is a great truck. Every time I show a video where I'm driving, everybody always gets mad at me about how dirty my windshield is. The only thing that doesn't work on this truck correctly is the speedo. It did, but it jumps around now, which is kind of annoying, but it's just a bad connection. But you know, one time I was driving this truck on the highway one night, and I looked down at my gauges and I freaked out because there was a big old wolf spider right here. I mean, big. And I was like, what in the world, dude? I gotta kill this thing. Then I figured out the spider was on the inside of the glass, like it was inside the gauge cluster. And like I'm here like uneasy because I'm looking at this big wolf spider and it's right in front of me, but I can't do anything about it because it was in the gauge cluster. I'd see that thing walking around in there, and then it would go into this one and then go into that one. And I drove the truck for weeks like that. I'd get in it and then he wouldn't be there, and I'd be like, where is he? But then he would pop up in here and walk around in the gauges, and then I went on vacation and came back and he was like dead right here. But that's the weirdest thing that I ever had happen to me. So check this out. We got 5 89 to 93 Dodge pick-em-up truck, 8-lug Cummins tires, well, rims, and 2 of them have tires, but look at those things. He said they were only like a year or 2 old. 10,000 miles on them. These things got like 90% tread left. These suckers are coming off, and I'm gonna try and sell them And I don't know what these cost. You know, the bigger the tire, the more they cost. If I can sell these for, I don't know, $200 or whatever, then I'll get the rims for free.
Did you go buy them rims?
Yeah. It's a good deal. $150.
I told you. You see how much tread was on them?
These said those tires are like a year old.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna take them tires off and sell the tires. I don't need them tires.
What are you doing with them old man junky rims? Them old man rims.
I like them rims.
They ain't chrome.
Nah, I like these rims. These are better than what you did to your first gen. You ruined yours.
Not made it look better.
You ruined them. Dad put the wrong rims on his first gen. Look at this. Look at what he did. See, Dad saw fit to put second gen 94 to 98 rims on his truck and get rid of those Steelies.
And they look better.
Now, some people like them and some people don't. I think they look all right, but I still think the original rims and caps would look the best on it. Dad doesn't think so. To this day, he's still defying what's right.
Nope. What year are those tires? Yeah, that definitely cost over $200.
Freaking, oh, I'm an idiot. Alright, so we're back to cleaning out the first gen. I cleaned out all the toolbox drawers, except for this one and the one on the other side. I can't get them open. They're stuck. But found some things that I could use, you know. There's a couple of bottles of tranny fluid, gear oil, .3, some 530, which, I don't know. These take 1540. I don't know what's going on there. Why they had all these quarts of oil that's not for this truck. Even found a couple of unopened beer bottles. I mean, look at that. I mean, when did they last use that? In the 90s? They've been in there for a good while. Receiver dryer, some rubber bungees. These are the gaskets for the dryer. These mason jars, these are like, every time I go to an antique store, these old mason jars are like 10 or 15 bucks. So, you know, this one's the wide mouth one, so I'll keep it. A bottle jack and a lug nut. And then a whole lot of trash, paperwork that has nothing to do with the truck. It was like her insurance and eye exams and all kinds of other banknotes and mail from whatever. So in here, I'm sure it's going to be the same. We got vacuum. This is like a vacuum line hookup. We got some makeup. A lady did own this truck, is what he said. Then there's a bunch of interior in the glove box, like she was taking as the seat would fall apart, she was taking the bits off and putting them in there, like, oh, I'm gonna use those later. I'll put it back on there, glue them on. But just a bunch of vehicle registration and Pima County, I don't even know. It's Department of Transportation, just random stuff. Oh, here we go. This is a service schedule. That's cool. I'll keep the stuff that matters and throw away the stuff that doesn't. Man alive, it probably took an hour to clean this out. I don't think I've ever worked harder for $8 in my life. But hey, you know, money's money. Can you imagine just throwing it in the trash? I mean, I'll take it, you know, but golly. There was sunflower seeds, gum wrappers, toothpicks, pens, pencils, dirt in here. It's just, gosh, filthy, man. All right, so we got the back of this thing cleaned out pretty dang good. This thing was filthy, man. Stuff under the seats, stuff on the seats and the floor, nasty all around. And I did save some things I just thought was funny. You can tell how people live. There was stacks of proof of insurance, AAA stuff just everywhere. But look at all these. All these are lotto tickets. And there's even a few casino tickets in here. I mean, they had I would call this like a gambling addiction almost. I mean, look at all this. This is all the pick, Powerball. And how many you think's in there? 40, 50 Powerball tickets, scratchers. Look at this. Prepaid phone card, 60 minutes. More scratchers, more, more lotto tickets. And look at all that. Lotto, lotto, lotto. Cigarettes, lipstick, mascara, beer bottles. I can't tell you how many bottle caps I threw away. I mean, they were just living. I mean, drunk, gambling, smoking, doing makeup. If this truck could talk, I bet it'd tell some stories, man. I was going to clean out the front, but I'm not going to because I actually found a guy on Facebook who's got some seats, carpet, and door panels for sale that I might pick up tomorrow. Because these seats, man, I mean, it's not even worth trying to clean the front of this up because these seats are so terrible. I mean, this really hurts the value of a truck, you know, when somebody goes to look at it and you see those kind of seats, it just kills the whole vibe. That's not even seat cover material. That's just throwaway, reupholster or throwaway material. So I'm going to take these seats out. I'm going to take this carpet out. I'm not even going to waste my time trying to clean it. It's just stained up, so far gone. By the time I got down to everything back here, there was a pillow back here. I mean, somebody was sleeping in here, living in here. Just crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay, so it's Saturday and just struck a deal with this guy to get the carpet, seats, and door panels. He just took them out of the truck, and he's in Apache Junction, so I gotta go up there, you know, 2 hours, like 100 and some miles to get it. It's gonna take most of the day to do it, but you gotta do what you gotta do to get it. You know, that interior, it's just not livable, and I don't see anybody else selling that stuff. And plus, it's the captain's chairs or the bench seats that I'm getting, which is what that truck, I think, had in it. The captain seats are harder to get than the bench seats, and I think the captain seats are better anyway because it lets you get in the back easier. They're not tore up, and it'll make the truck look a lot better. You know, it's really gonna make it, I think it's worth the trip to do. All right, so we got home with everything, and I think we did all right. This is the driver's seat. It's in pretty good shape. It's got a tear right here from people getting in and out, but I don't really know any of them that don't have that. This is the passenger's seat. Door panels. Not bad. These are the brackets that bolt to the floor, and then the seat bolts on top. He also threw in some sun visors, which are the same. This was a tan interior truck, and I think the sun visors are in it, so I might keep these as extras for my first gen, because it's got the gray interior. Let's see here. We have the carpet. This thing's humongous. We can go ahead and start taking this old crap out and getting ready for the new stuff, which should go in lickety split. It's all factory stuff. Ugh. All right, this should be the last one on this seat. What? I don't understand. All right, now, I don't know how this is held in the back where it creases against the sleeper. I don't know, it's like shoved in there. But we're gonna have to get the Phillips out, take the sill plates off, take the kick panels off, and yank her out. Lock, stock, and barrel. There's some more change. Good Lord. She was probably playing them quarter slots, nickel slots, penny slots. Probably all that change was casino gambling stuff. I mean, I've never seen so much change in a vehicle. Those in the back seat. So the interior is completely gutted. I vacuumed the floor. There's tons of dust and debris and more cigarette butts and all kinds of garbage in there. Floors look pretty good though. Perks of an Arizona Southwest truck. Not bad. Starting to see a little bit of rust right here, but it's not through. The problem with these trucks is the floors are pretty thin. Look at that. I mean, the floors are just thin, and on top of that, the carpet and the insulation, they don't rust from the bottom up. I mean, I guess in the Midwest or the Northeast, they'll rust any which way. But here, they'll rust from the top down, not the bottom up. Moisture gets on that, holds it against the metal, and they'll rust this way, not that way. So we're just gonna do the same thing in reverse. Before we put the seats in, we'll put the carpet in. I'm gonna vacuum this while it's sitting here all flat. Once it's clean, we'll put it in, and then maybe we can like shoot some, I think I have some carpet cleaner, maybe we can try and get some of these stains out or whatever, you know, like that and maybe up there, you know. I was gonna put the carpet in, but I mean, I thought, you know what, I better do something about this. This is tore. I pushed it back together, you know, from underneath, but this is tore all the way over here. I don't know how that happened. I don't think I did that by taking the friggin' seat out, you know. I don't think I pulled that hard. That was like that. So, a little grinding action. Then I'm gonna spot weld this back together because, you know, it's just the right thing to do, I guess. Alright, tacked it up everywhere, threw a little bit of water on it to cool everything down and make sure that the undercoating doesn't catch on fire. I'm happy with that. Now we can go ahead and set the carpet in and try and fit it. I'll have to cut a hole for that because this came out of an automatic. All right, now for the main event. Oh. Let me see here. All right, studs are in. These seats are not hard to put in at all. Just like that. All right, finally. Let's see, we got back and forth. Oh, we do. We got back and forth motion. We got our armrest and we got back and forth. Yeah, up and down, back, forth, whatever, side to side, you name it, we got it, baby. Now I feel like I want to work on this thing more, like mechanically, because that was really bugging me. It was a good $300 spent. You know, and I like buying factory stuff. I'm just a factory kind of guy, but even if you buy, I don't care what it is, how expensive a carpet kit, aftermarket, seats, whatever, it never fits right. They'll swear it does up and down, but you always have to cut stuff to fit. It never fits. It's just been my experience, but when you buy stuff that was from another truck, even if it's beat up, it always goes in seamlessly. I mean, just seamless. Before I put the seats in, I did put the sill plates on both sides. I put the seat belts on and the latches in the middle, and I put the kick panels on both sides. Put the boot back on for the shifter and the shifter knob, and we'll clean this up too with like interior cleaner. Plastic, rubber, vinyl cleaner. And oh man, isn't that a step up from what it was? All right, we're going on another little side quest. I think Dad's picking up his own truck to flip, so see what it is. So what is it?
98 half-ton Chevy.
98 half-ton Chevy. Runs and drives?
Yeah.
Title?
Yeah.
place in the world that has saguaros. Get a good look. You guys know people fly from all around the country to have weddings here so they can have saguaros in their pictures?
You don't cut a cactus down.
Yeah, these are protected.
Oh, you don't mess with them. Don't touch them. The cactus cop will get you.
Yeah, you don't touch a saguaro.
No. You can think about it. Don't do it.
So here's the truck. This is a clean one. That doesn't look bad at all. How many miles are on it? 160? Yeah, this ain't a bad truck at all.
Yeah, not till you look over here. Other than that, it's not too bad.
How'd that happen?
Chicago did it.
Oh, yeah, Chicago. That makes sense. Is that the only spot with it? Can't be. If it's there, it's got to be somewhere else.
Bill said there ain't no more on it.
That's crazy. How could that be?
I don't see no pack rats.
So what kind of, is this a 350, 305?
350.
350? Yeah.
5.7.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill.
That's a
What's going
cleanie.
on? Cheers, nice.
Oh, yeah.
171.
Yeah, I wouldn't even blink at buying this thing. Charging. Looks like it's got some fuel, oil pressure.
Yeah.
Tack works. Oh yeah. Look at that. Nice bed liner. These are awesome. I love these.
Small.
Doesn't look too bad under here. Spare. Oh, it's got some rust in the bumper. So Dad's all paid up, got the truck, got the title, and now we're gonna head out. I'll follow back behind him. See if I can get this thing started. Now that the interior is done, we can get started on the engine. I'm just going to check fluids, and he said that there's no water in the radiator because there's a big hole in it, but we're going to put some water in it just to make sure he was right, because you could pull the radiator out and get halfway through fixing it only to figure out the petcock was open or something. I don't know. Barely any fluid in the reservoir for that. Let's put some brake fluid in it. Let's see what we got for brake fluid. Full of brake fluid. I did check the oil, and it was like full, and it looked brand spanking new. Yeah, absolutely. It's not even dark at all. So that saves me about 40 bucks there and a filter. We can check the gear oil and the trans. Where's the check? Oh, there it is. Hidden in all the grease, I couldn't see it. Yeah, it's a little low.
Go back a little bit, Travis.
All right. Ooh-wee. It's low. Ooh, gosh. Well, then that begs the question, where's it going? All over the tranny, obviously. Yeah, this thing is real low. I'd say it's almost dang near out. Wow. Not that bad. See if we can read this plate. 354s. All right, hey, that's good. And some people say, well, you know, if you want to tow, you need 411s. Yeah, 411s are, you got a mechanical advantage, yeah, but there's a guy in a second gen Cummins group I'm a part of. His second gen has 750,000 miles on it. Motor's never been out of it, and he tows with it all the time, and it's got 354s. All right. I've driven trucks with 411s. I mean, you can't go more than 25 miles an hour topped out in 12th gear. It's freaking crazy. It gets annoying when you're going long distances. All right, let's just try it for good humor. See it? Looks like it's in 2 spots. Yeah, it's done. Let's take it out. You know, and I have tried fixing radiators on the channel before, but the problem is they rot like freeze plugs. They rot from the inside out, and the outside looks perfect, hunky-dory. Then you fix one hole, and you swear you got it, and then you pressurize it, and it pops out somewhere else, and then it pops out somewhere else, and it ends up just being a big waste of time. You ever seen a rabbit hole? You're looking at one. And I've jumped down that rabbit hole before. And I've met Elmer Fudd with a shotgun at the end of it. So I'm not even gonna do it anymore. Somebody nut and bolted that radiator, and I had a wrench and a socket on it, and I was turning the bolt and the nut was held and it wasn't coming loose, so it was stripped or something. I had to cut it. I forgot how I've done this before. I put a new battery in it with those threaded top posts so I can put my leads on it, and I'm gonna run it for a second. It won't hurt it to run it for a second. There's still water in the block, but I just want to see what works, because I never even really looked. Look at that. The wait to start works. The grid heater, that's the grid heater coming on. Oil light is working. Oil pressure, not sure how much gas is in it. Gas gauge, fuel gauge might not be working. Main issue right now is the charging. Okay, so let's try signals. Rear, front, nice. We're not gonna have any up here because this bulb is broke out. Actually, maybe I can okay, the right signal works. I had to basically break the housing. It was busted anyway, and it just crumbled, and the old light was stuck in there all crazy. I had to get it out, but I need an amber bulb, an amber colored one, but I just wanted to test it and see if it worked, and it does. So we got left and right signal, front and rear, and we have headlights. Let me check high beam and low. What? We had them. I know I did. I tried them. Oh, that's what it is. The change up there. Biggest problem right now is the no charging issue. That's a big one. So what I'm going to do is I'm trying to get to the bottom of it, and we can check for a few things. We can check for power at the back of the alternator. Okay, there we go. Alright, so we're getting power to the back of the alternator, which is good. You gotta have key on power for alternator rators to excite the windings. And then this is the voltage regulator. Then one of these should have power, yeah. Okay, so yeah, one's got power. So we could have a simple issue of a voltage regulator, which would be awesome. That's easy to do. I like this style of charging system the best because even a few years into the first gen, like 91, 2, and 3, they went to a different way, not an external voltage regulator, an internal one. And it's not as easy to fix as just having an external regulator. And the second gens are even worse if you got a charging problem. We ran into the exact thing on the fly and drive on that second gen Dodge. It's a couple of videos back where it wasn't charging, but they won't charge if the crank position sensor or the engine speed sensor down on the crank is bad, or it's not getting a signal from the computer. It won't charge, and you can't make it charge, you know, because it all has to do with the computer, and it turns into a mess. So having an external regulator I just like. So what I'm going to do one more time is start it, see if it's working now. We didn't do anything, but maybe we jiggled something. And I'm going to go check it on the battery with the voltmeter and see if the gauge isn't reading. Yeah, 12.3, it's not charging. So with that one wire I plugged in on the battery that gave me the headlights, I noticed even with the headlights not on, it sparked a little bit, like it was some draw was on it. And I got the headlights off and the key off, and look at that. Taillights are still on. I was wondering what that little spark was. So there is something wrong there we're gonna have to fix. So I put the voltage regulator on from my 89 and still no charging. Still no charging. Tack works though. Well, there's a few different wires on this alternator, and one of them is the charge wire, which is down here. See that the key is off and it's got power. This is the big wire that when it's charging, this is the big one that's dumping the current back into the battery. There's two connectors back here that are really hard to see. See these two wires? There's two connectors right here, one here and one here. Okay, and one of these should be key on power because you got to have an exciter wire. Key on, key off, on, off. So what's weird is I'm not seeing anything wrong with the electrical system thus far. We're getting power. The alternator's hooked to the battery, getting key on power to the alternator. We're getting a signal at our voltage regulator, and I even swapped regulators and that's not working. So maybe the alternator is bad, which is really weird because it's almost never the alternator in these trucks. It's always something else, but it could be an alternator, but I just find that hard to believe. These alternators are really tough. Every time I've had a no charging problem with one of these trucks, it's never been an alternator. What I kind of like about generators that came before alternators, like what's on the 50s cars I drive, is that if you have an engine turning the generator, it makes voltage. But if you wire the generator up backwards and you put voltage to the generator turns into a motor and it'll turn. And if you wire it up backwards like that and the generator doesn't turn, then the windings are bad or brushes are bad or something in there is bad. But you can't trick an alternator like that. You can't give it the old reach around, and alternators aren't like that. They're a little more elusive. Bench testing an alternator is a little trickier. Well, like I said, I put these tires on Facebook. I paid $150 for all 5 rims and the tires. I put the tires up for $200, and I think a guy's coming to get them right now for $150. So if he buys them, that means I'll have got my rims for free. Yep. Cool. All right, just like that. Free rims. So I got the different alternator on it, and let's see if it charges now. I got the voltage regulator hooked up, the old one. Still nothing. So I shut it off. I put my old voltage regulator on from my first gen that is a known good, and started it up again. Now we're charging. So what? It needed a alternator and a regulator? What in the world? Because when I swapped the regulator for a known good, it didn't charge. And when I put the new alternator on with the regulator that was on this truck, it didn't charge. So it needed a brand new alternator and a known good regulator to charge. That's crazy. Two things bad at once? Wow. 14.6, 14.7. All right, let's shut her down. That's crazy. It's a little much for this thing. I'm gonna crack it loose with a breaker bar. Okay. Caliper isn't stuck. Rotor doesn't seem to be real ate up, and a bunch of lines in it. It had a bunch of really heavy grooves in it. That means that somebody went way too thin and probably metal on the pads, and it scores up the rotors real bad, but those look pretty good. Looks like friggin' brand new pad. Looks great. Nothing wrong with that at all. This one's free too, not sticking. That looks like a brand new pad. I can see the writing on it. And oh yeah, look at all that. You can still see all the groove in the middle. Then you look here. Yeah, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So it's the next day here, and I've been messing around with these lights. I plugged this in, trying to see what the issue here is. And I figured out a few things, actually. I have no idea what happened or why, but remember, if I hit the headlights and then I did the brights, they shut off. But now, see, they're working. So I got lucky on that, but the other issue has been, turn the lights off, remember the always on problem? Boom. So I got under here where the brake switch is for the brake lights. It's right here by the pedal. It's bent over. So if I push it in, the lights go off. So if they're off and I do the lights, I got regular tail lights. Off, on, off, running lights. See, that's the brake switch. For some reason, it's bent backwards. It should be up against. See where it was riding? Now that we have all the lights that we need, we got headlights, brights and dims, tail lights, running lights, signals left and right, brake lights, everything's good there. The only other thing with the lights I'm going to do is these two lights weren't working. I'm sure it's just a bulb, but I'm going to have to kind of tear, that rubber's old and hard. I'm going to have to tear that rubber up to get those out. I want new bulbs in them, and I want them to work. If so many of the lights work, I want to fix those. The real pressing thing now, in order to bring the value of this truck up or to help sell it or what have you, another thing that people look at besides interiors is tires. Tires, man, these are bad, bad, bad. So you got no tread on either side of this, dry rotted, and the DOT's 45th week of 13. It's 11-year-old tires. That's real old. And then you look at this one, it's the 40th week of 13. This one is a 245. Where's it at? This one's a 245, 75/16. So this one's a different size than all the rest that are on the truck. and the DOT on this one is the 32nd week of 14. So they probably had a blowout and then just did one. There's a place on the different side of town that's got a set of 6 of these that are used, 95% tread, mounted and balanced. They'll do $600 for all 6, which is fine by me. Because the cheapest option I could find on Amazon was like $113 a tire. So you do 6 of those, then you add taxes, shipping, and handling. It comes out to $733. So $133 more than what they're going to do it for. And plus, it's going to take me, well, I have to wait for them in the mail. Then it's going to take me half a day to swap them all out, and then I have 6 tires I got to get rid of. It's got to have a set of tires. That's the first thing people ask me every time I put a truck up for sale. They sometimes ask about the air conditioning. They don't ask about the paint. They ask, does it have a title, and how do the tires look? Because nobody wants to spend money on tires for some reason, but everybody wants a good set. So I'll bite the bullet. Oopsies. Whew. What the heck kind of door?
code right there.
35th week of 22, so 23, 24. Yeah, they're 2 years old. That's good. They don't seem dry rotted or anything. Yeah, Goodyear. Goodyear's a good brand. 215, 85, 16. I mean, that's what's on it. Do you want me to pull around back here? I have the tires in the back of my truck.
Yeah. Just pull right in here, back it in, and we'll get them unloaded and get going.
Okay. So they said that they'll have the tires done in about 30 minutes, and while they're doing that, I'm going to get a couple of grommets for those lights, those rear lights that weren't working, because that rubber is so hard that I don't think I'm able to take it out and put it in with that hard rubber. I'm going to tear it up for sure. So we'll get a few. So we'll get a few of those to. So we're going to get a few of them so we can put it back together, right? All right. The other two are still over there? Cool, I'll go get them. Nice. Yeah, that's what we need. Just some decent tires. Before we set it back on the ground, we'll adjust these brakes. If they're not making noise and they're working, I'm not gonna take the drum off because these ones are really annoying to check. The second gens are, see, the first and second gens have a different design on the brake drum on the rear, where this one, I can hear it now a little bit. I can start to hear it drag a little bit, but anyway, the way you check the brakes on these is that you have to take all the bolts out for the axle, pull the axle off, pull the 2-inch nut out of the hub, and you have to pull the entire hub assembly off to even look at the brakes. It's a giant pain. The second gen Dodges had a different kind of rear end where you could just take the tires off, pop the drum off, and you didn't have to do any of that. We'll be here all night. You want them to drag a good bit, almost to the point of stopping, but dragging. Those are dragging pretty good. I'll go to the other side. That's better. Yeah. Yeah, that's better. If we could go out just a little bit. Yeah. All right. And one last thing we'll do, maybe we'll have enough, is we'll give her the old razzle dazzle treatment. Oh, no, I'm out. Maybe I can spread it around a little bit with this. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, these just came off the line yesterday. Come on, give her a good smear. Stretch those pennies. Well, we polished off the bottle, made it by the skin of our teeth, but hey, we got it. Tires look good, truck's sitting up nice and pretty. Heck, most of those tires were not holding air. Half of them were almost flat, so this is much better upgrade. Truck looks a lot better. We'll still clean the outside, plus with the interior. We're starting to get somewhere. We are getting somewhere. So I'm trying to order parts, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of this radiator cooling situation, and I found a few things. They got this all jacked up. So this is obviously the early non-intercooled version of the Cummins. The correct outlet for this thermostat housing on a non-intercooled engine goes this way, because the non-intercooled engines had not a top flow, a down flow radiator, up and down. The intercooled engines had a cross flow radiator where they had one outlet down here and the other one was way over here. And that's what this outlet's for. The hose went all the way to the other side of the engine because the coolant went like this. So they have an intercooled thermostat housing on here. And I go to look at this radiator. This is the radiator that I pulled out of the truck. This is the non-intercooled size radiator, but yet they have the cross flow radiator outlets on it. So that's not right, because this, I measured the holes. This is the same size as this. Okay, this is a drop-in for that correct engine, but you can see the outlets are on the same side. Look at my 89. So obviously this truck is all original and correct. You can see the thermostat housing outlet does not do this. It comes up and does a 90 this way, has an L-shaped hose. Both outlets are on the same side here and down there. That radiator that I have over there is the factory radiator that came out of this truck. I wanted an aluminum radiator, so I ordered one for this, but I actually had this radiator hot tanked and cleaned and everything. That's why I still have the caps on it, because I was using this radiator until I could find an aluminum one. And you say, well, all right, they switched it. Why don't you just buy an intercooled radiator? They're a different size. The true actual intercooled radiators are bigger than this. So what they have is the non-intercooled size radiator with the wrong outlets and the wrong thermostat housing. This is something that somebody just made up. You have to put this radiator back in it, which means we have to change the thermostat housing to the correct one. And I think my dad has a thermostat housing on one of his engines that I can take off. So this is one of Dad's engines that he's gonna sell. This one's got, whoa. This one's got the correct thermostat housing on it. Golly. Yeah, that one broke. Yeah. Ugh. It did break off flush.
It did?
Yeah, I thought there was a shaft in there. All right, well, we'll fix that later.
That's tomorrow, Travis.
Yeah, that's tomorrow Travis stuff. That's a job for tomorrow me.
That's not a today.
That's why I leave jobs like that up to tomorrow Travis.
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
So now that we have the correct thermostat housing, we can put the right thermostat housing in, we can put a new gasket in it, and we can put the right radiator in it and a hose on it. Maybe we can cobble this hose together to work, and then we'll have a cooling system that is correct. And if you ever had to fix it and get another radiator, you have everything is correct. You can just order the non-intercooled radiator and put it in. This is a totally jacked up mess, and you can see here, this has got some tag on it, like it says Performance Rad. Somebody had this tank changed, because you can see it's not like this, where it's ribbed. Let's see if we can set this in there. It's been sitting outside a little bit. I had it boiled out and taken to the rad shop, and I only used it for maybe a month or so before I put that aluminum one in it. Hey, relax. So, yeah, this is basically a brand new radiator. So I don't have to spend a couple $100 on the internet. It's basically free. And tomorrow we will get this housing on with a new gasket, the new seal. I got that ordered into O'Reilly's. We'll get that tomorrow. We can't even finish that up tonight. So we're in pretty good shape now. See, it's a good thing that I caught this now and that I'm doing this now, because I really didn't even think about it. It didn't even cross my mind what was going on when the radiator was leaking and all that stuff, and I took it out. Didn't even compute. But say this radiator would have been fine, I wouldn't have thought about it. I'd have sold it to somebody, and like they would have had that leak somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and they had to get towed, and they said, well, I'll just get a radiator for it. You couldn't even buy that radiator. And if someone has a problem with this radiator and they put another one in it, everything will match up fine, as it should. So it's the next day, and we're getting somewhere now. Cleaned up the housing. We got a thermostat, we got the gasket, and we have a radiator cap. Just a dab of silicone on here. All right. Probably have to cut it to fit. So see how it's gonna bend and have a kink in it. You got this whole deal. So I thought we could get away with this hose if I cut it down, but the way the mold is it's not really a true 90, and if you try and turn it at all, it tries to kink. So unfortunately we have to do it right, go buy a real hose, cut this one. About ready to put water in this thing, huh? About friggin' time. Golly. That was a whole mess and a half. Okay. These have a port on them right here where you can burp the air out if you think there's air in it. So what'll happen is if you drain all the water out and then you close the system back up and put water in it, it'll fill up the radiator, but there'll be an air cavity right here. And if you don't get the air out, the water will heat up, but since it's not against the thermostat because there's air, it won't open the thermostat. You can overheat your motor. What? So see how nothing came out, and you can see that this tank was full and now it's not, so it went down. Oh, there it is. All right, so we're totally full and there's no air. So I got to take a break from working on the 91 Cummins real quick because I have a gentleman coming to deliver me some poles like that for more signs, so we got to let him in. Kevin did his business, dropped off the poles. Man, he's a good guy, man. He's hauled a few things for me before, and he's a really good dude, and more importantly, I can count on him, and I trust the guy. So before it gets too dark, let's go over these poles a little bit, and I'll talk a little bit about them. So these are not original poles. Those kind of are, but this one is a brand new banjo pole. But this pole is made to real dimensions of real banjo poles. They call them banjo poles because it looks like a banjo. Now, they did a great job. Wow, I mean, the craftsmanship is just really good. The welds are nice. The ring is perfect. Because you got to think, when these poles were made, the real ones, they were made in a professional manufacturing setting. So the fact that like somebody could build this, I mean, golly, if you painted it, you would never know it's not original. It looks awesome. These are swinger poles, but these are not original gas station poles. This is real, but these were street lamps that were converted into gas station swinger poles. What they did was they made this base for it, which is just amazing. I mean, they did an awesome job. Have no complaints with the craftsmanship and the way that they wove the pole design all the way into the base with every corner, you know. And then these holes right here hold those 7-foot arms. So the 7-foot arm goes in here, comes out, and the sign will hang down. It's gonna look sweet up in the air. So everything is clean now. Dash is all clean, seats are clean, carpet's clean, pressure washed the outside of the truck, and I pressure washed the engine and then let it sit, and then hit it with some oven cleaner, and then hit it again, so the engine's looking a lot better. And then that pump is tan. They were originally black. That's because there's a tag down there. It's remanufactured. So it's got a, I don't know, newish injection pump. It doesn't leak. I put the headlight adjusters in, so the headlight's correct now. The only thing we're waiting for is this. And I was thinking about trying to see if I could get the air conditioner to work. So, I don't know. Let's fill it and see what happens. We should see that kick on. Oh, yep, there it goes. There's not enough pressure yet for it to stay on. Yeah, the more pressure that you get in there, the longer it'll stay on. Yep. And then as that compressor starts pumping, it'll start kind of creating a vacuum. That's why they call this the low side or the suction side, and it'll let more of that Freon go in there. Just so we can see how cold it's blowing, I'm gonna take this out of mine. We'll put it in the vents in the other one. Blowing 50. It's blowing 50-degree air. Yeah, it's working, it's cold. That's crazy. So I put what cans I had left in it, which were like a couple of half cans, and it's blowing like below 40. It's hard to see with that glare. Yeah, we're like below 40 for sure. So the AC works, that's awesome. And also, I haven't ran this thing for any length of time to know really if any of these gauges work. Oil pressure works, charging works, temperature's coming up, so that works. I don't know if the fuel gauge works, but I did see the low fuel light come on a second ago, so maybe that works. Maybe it's low on gas. We're gonna put some, well, fuel, everybody gets mad when I say gas. Put some fuel in it, diesel in it. Maybe that gauge will come up, not sure. And then the speedo, let's check all that out. All right, so we're driving it and we know why it says 143,000. It's because the speedometer and the odometer doesn't work. Yeah, these first gens have a real bad problem with the speedometers, or the odometers really. There's a gear in there that turns the odometer. It's plastic and it breaks. I've repaired them a few times, but they just get brittle and break. They sell a kit to fix it, but you got to take the whole gauge cluster out and it's just a mess. So I put like $20 in and the fuel gauge didn't move at all. and the thermostat did open because the needle was at about half, and then I saw it go down to that quarter mark, so I know the thermostat opened and it's getting in the rad now. Yeah, those fuel gauges, man, they're really hard to fix, because when those fuel gauges aren't working, it's typically the sending unit, and you can buy the sending units for the gassers, you can't buy them for the diesel, so you have to take the tank out. It's at the very top of the tank, so you have to drop the tank, take the sending unit out, and try and fix it, put it up in there, and drain the tank, and it's a nightmare fixing those. All these first gens get about 18 to 20 miles to the gallon, so you can just calculate it. How about that? So as far as drivability goes, everything seems to work. Good throttle response, brakes work. I'm in 5th gear right now, and none of the gears make any noises. These transmissions have a problem with 3rd that'll pop out of 3rd gear. You'll put it in and it pops out, pops out. It's not doing that. The heater does work. It's kind of hard to see, but we're sitting at about 130 degrees for temperature, for heat. The only issue I say is the clutch. The clutch works, but on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being brand new and 10 being completely worn out, it's probably like a 7 or an 8. I would say another year or maybe a year and a half of using it, you would need another clutch, which I'm not the guy to do that right now. Heck man, it's a good truck. AC, heat. I even turned the radio on earlier and the radio came on, so yeah, it's gonna make somebody a real good truck. So I think I'm on an even keel with this 91 Dodge Cummins. I think I'm about ready to list it. I've done everything I think I want to do to it. Since the test drive, I fixed a few things. Fixed the turn signal, parking light, lamp assembly. I got the 2 lights that weren't working on the cab lights to work. The bulbs were burnt and they had a bad ground. One of the last things I want to do put a nice fresh diesel cap on it, and I also fixed these 2 lights back here. These ones were burnt, but yeah, this truck is really cool. There's probably not a lot like these out there. I do have a clean title for it. I'm asking $8,500 for it. If you are interested in the truck, you can email me. I'll put my email right here. You can come with a trailer and take it home. You can fly here and drive it home. You can do whatever. But yeah, it's got a clean, clear title, ready to go, asking $85,000. And what's crazy is there's one other truck just like this for sale on Facebook right now, with the sleeper just like that, from the same manufacturer. It's got the same hump in the roof and the same looking flatbed on it. It's a little nicer. It's painted. He wants 21 grand for it, and in his ad, he's came down in price from 30, which is insane. But he said, I'm not going below 21,000. If it doesn't sell for 21,000, then I'm not selling it. It's just like this, same setup. So for $8,500, it's a pretty good deal for what it is. You know, it's a good condition work truck. It's not a show truck. It's not a complete beater. Work truck condition. But she's ready for the streets. So I still have a few more interesting things to tell you guys. One, I've been getting a lot of questions about what happened to the lope or the stumble on the 650 horsepower Cummins build I was doing. If you guys watched the video where I took the junkyard 12-valve Cummins and made it make 650 horsepower as part of a series on the build I'm doing, this Cummins build. Once I got done with all the horsepower add-on parts, I started the truck. Or I'm sorry, I didn't start the truck, I started the engine. There is no truck on it. And it had this stumble. And I couldn't get that stumble out no matter what. And so I actually tabled it because I was frustrated. I'm like, I don't know what to do about this right now. I'll come back to it later. So in the meantime, I rebuilt the transmission and I put that video out. And then when I put the transmission on the back and I put the torque converter on and I filled it up with fluid and I started it, it stopped. It stopped. It ran perfectly from idle to acceleration, low RPM, high RPM, everywhere in between. It ran perfect. No more stumble, no nothing. And what I think it was is there was just no load on it. When I started it the first time after I put all the parts on, I didn't have the transmission on it. It was just the flywheel and that was it.
And I think because there wasn't enough of a load on the injection pump, it was searching. It was kind of like doing rack bounce. It was searching. Once I got the torque converter on and filled with fluid, I guess the centrifugal force or the weight or the load on it, it cut it out. And it just sounds beautiful now. So there's the answer to that question. Second, you guys have been following along with Emily's pregnancy update. We're having our first child. She's 6 months now, 6 months and some change pregnant. Everything's going good. As you all know, we found out we're having a girl. We're still looking for girl baby names. If you have any good suggestions, you know, hearing out all options right now for girl baby names. We're probably not going to decide till late in the game what her name is. I don't even know. I'll probably pick when I see her. Some people think that that's way too late and crazy, but it's like, what if you say she's a Sally, but you look at her and you think, wow, she really looks like a Lily? I don't know. You know, I'm a visual person. I got to see what you look like. But anyway, as far as the 96 Chevy half-ton goes, my dad did sell it. He put some tires on it. And I think he fixed the tailgate and sold it to one of my good friends who needed a truck, who's been looking for one and been in the market for a reasonably priced work truck condition rig. And this one is the perfect fit for my friend. So she bought it and she should get some pretty good use out of it. So as I always get comments every time I make a Cummins video, another Cummins video, that's boring. Why don't you do something else? Why don't you do a Duramax or a Power Stroke? Cummins are boring, blah, blah, blah. Well, I tried to do a Power Stroke and it was actually going to be an entire video, but now you can't say that I didn't try, because I did go look at a 1990 Ford Power Stroke, a 7.3, and it didn't work out. So that was going to be its own video, but I kind of nipped it in the bud before it went anywhere, and you guys will see why. So I'm going to end the video off with what would have been the beginning of the first Power Stroke video that would have been on the channel. Figured I'd show you guys anyway, but at any rate, guys, I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. This is coming out on Christmas Day, so I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Hope you're spending time with your family. Hope the holiday season is treating you well. And like always, guys, very much appreciate you all, and we will see you in the next one. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Travis, and we are actually here to pick up a truck I've never had before. We're looking at a 1990 Ford F-250 with the 7.3 diesel in it, and I'm actually at the guy's gate right now waiting for him to open it. And my dad actually found this on Facebook Marketplace, so we're going to take a look at it, look it over real quick, and if it's good, you know, we'll suck it up on the trailer. All I know about it and all he knows about it is that it was a ranch truck, one owner, and it's been off the road since '04, and the gentleman I'm buying it from, he never did anything with it. He bought it, took it to his property, I think wanted to work on it with his son, and his son wasn't interested, so. Okay, so this is it. 1990 Ford F-250. Now, what's interesting about this is, to my knowledge, they didn't put turbos on these until '93, so the fact that this says Banks Turbo, somebody must have added that on or whatever, but you can see the sticker here too. Gale Banks engineered turbocharger system for 6973. Really cool. That's pretty interesting. No belts. What is that? Some kind of air pump? Vacuum pump? Not sure. Belts aren't on it. I'd like to get down on that crank and see if it turns by hand maybe, but oh well. Intake boots off. Yeah, and like I said, he doesn't know anything about it. He never tried to crank it, never tried to start it, doesn't know anything. So, let's see if we got. Oh, that's not a good sign at all. No oil on the stick. What the heck was that noise? Yep, nothing. I'm gonna have to get under this thing. Got air conditioning stuff, blower motors missing, some pack rat stuff. God. Doesn't look like there's anything in the reservoir. Reservoir looks got a crack. Inside,
It's got both of its seats, center console. Inside doesn't look too bad. Got all your controls, AC, key lock cylinder's missing. So somebody was monkeying with it, taking the intake off, trying to get it to run. Couldn't get it to start, had no keys, busted the lock cylinder out. The brake, trailer brake thing is down there. It's an automatic. Got a dent here. No tailgate. There's the tag, off the road since '04. Something's fishy. You see that? See how the bed, the cab is up on the bed? Look at that. See how this is close? Oh, what the heck? Oh, I think I see the turbo back there. There it is. It's got an ATF. Yeah, there's ATF in it. Maybe if I get to it from underneath, I'll have easier. I can't turn the thing. Seems locked up. I mean, even though these have high compression, you should be able to turn the crank over, you know, at least. He let me borrow a pipe wrench. Let's see here. I got the jaw of the pipe wrench on the crank. Look at that. Forget this thing. No way. That's crazy. Now we know why it was $1,000. Let's pull it the other way, just to see. Nope. All right, I think we're done here. I'm not buying this thing. Piece of junk. Can of worms. Yeah, so I passed on that. You know, after figuring that out, there's no way I was gonna buy it. That's why I was up for $1,000. But when I was there at his house, he had like 10 projects going on, trucks and rear ends and forklifts. So he's not an idiot. He's working on things as I'm there. So he probably knew that it was locked up and hoping that he would get some starry-eyed sucker who was looking for their first diesel and was going to buy it at any cost just to have a power stroke. And he didn't know I was coming. And when I saw there was no oil in it, that's when I was getting suspicious. And I did get under and look to see if there was a hole in the block. And that's when I really wanted to check the crank. What probably happened was they ran it with no oil and welded the pistons to the side of the cylinder wall. There would be no hole in the block, but pistons are probably seized to the block. So